There are moments in life, dear one, where you may feel eyes upon you even when no one is around. A strange pull in the air, a vibration that feels personal, almost as if someone's thoughts are quietly resting upon your spirit. This sensation is not random. It often signals that someone, somewhere, is deeply tuned into your energy, sometimes without even fully understanding why. Now imagine this. A person went to receive a psychic reading. Maybe they were seeking guidance, perhaps trying to find clarity in their own tangled emotions or searching for answers about love, destiny, or life's uncertain paths. But in that quiet moment, under the presence of spiritual insight, your name, your essence, your energy, appeared before them. The cards, the visions, or the intuitive impressions, whatever medium the reader used, kept circling back to you. It startled them, because they hadn't expected you to be the focal point of their reading. They thought they were asking about themselves, and yet the universe revealed something more: you. This is why you may feel them so strongly in your spirit now. You may notice their energy brushing up against your thoughts, showing up in your dreams, or causing that subtle inner tug as though someone is remembering you. These are not coincidences. This person has become spiritually tied to you, and after their psychic reading you became etched even deeper in their consciousness. They wonder why your image lingers. Why is your energy so loud? Why, of all the people in their life, it is you that Spirit chose to reveal. As we journey through this message today, I invite you to sit back, breathe deeply, and open your heart to understanding what is happening. This isn't about drama or sensational stories. This is about spiritual truth. A soul has been reminded of you, and now you occupy a place in their thoughts both day and night. Remember, in spirituality, nothing is truly random. Every thought, every connection, and every moment of recognition is woven into the great tapestry of divine timing. The fact that you are here listening to this message is not by chance. Point 1. The psychic reading wasn't about you, but Spirit brought you forward. Imagine this. A person comes to a spiritual reader, heart full of questions, eager for answers about their own path, their love life, their purpose, or the uncertainty that weighs heavily on their shoulders. They expect Spirit to hand them a mirror that reflects only their own face. But Spirit, mysterious, wise, and endlessly intentional, rarely works in such a straightforward way. The truth is, the universe often threads our answers into other people, weaving destinies together in ways we cannot immediately see. And here's the striking reality. Sometimes, the reading isn't even about the one who asks the question. It's about you, the one who unexpectedly carries the key to their growth. Think about how often people cross your path in ways that feel accidental. You sit next to a stranger on a train, bump into someone in a cafe, or suddenly reconnect with a person you hadn't spoken to in years. These aren't coincidences, they're orchestrations. In spiritual teachings, this is often described as synchronicity, the divine alignment of souls at the right place at the right time for the right reason. When Spirit directs someone into a reader's space, it's not always to shine a light on their own choices, but sometimes to highlight the significance of another soul who is shaping, stretching, or even challenging their journey. This is where you come in, chosen one. Your energy, your very presence, becomes the compass Spirit points toward. Maybe you've never realized it, but you are often the answer wrapped in human form. Your lessons, your love, your silence, or even your absence can be the exact medicine another soul needs. Think about it. Have you ever noticed someone bringing up your name in conversations you weren't part of? Or how often people say, "I don't know why, but you inspire me." That's because your spirit holds weight in the invisible realms. Spirit often places you in someone's narrative, not to boost your ego, but because your role in their soul's evolution is far bigger than you realize. It can be humbling and even confusing. You may wonder, why do people seem so drawn to me? Or why do they place such importance on my opinion, my approval, or even my rejection? This happens because you're not just a background character in their life, you are a catalyst. For some, your presence may activate healing. For others, your distance may awaken longing and self-reflection. Spirit works through you as a living lesson, a mirror, or even a quiet storm that rearranges everything they thought they knew. Psychology also echoes this truth. Carl Jung spoke about the collective unconscious, where human beings are bound by archetypes and symbols that appear in our relationships. You embody one of these archetypes without even trying: the guide, the awakener, the challenger, or the healer. When spirit directs someone's focus toward you during a reading, it's a recognition that your energy has left an imprint on their subconscious. In simple terms, your soul is part of their homework assignment. This is why it's important to walk with awareness. Not everyone who thinks of you, speaks about you, or seeks you out is doing so by accident. Sometimes they are compelled by spirit itself because something in you carries what they need for their next chapter. And it doesn't always look glamorous. Sometimes you're the teacher through heartbreak, sometimes the reminder of what they lost, and sometimes the example of strength they strive to emulate. Spirit doesn't limit lessons to comfort. Often the deepest growth comes through friction. So the next time you find yourself coming up in someone else's reading or feeling their energy tugging on you, don't dismiss it as random. Understand that you are part of a much larger, sacred exchange. You are a living answer, a soul whose presence reshapes others in ways you may never fully see. And this is the quiet power of being chosen, not to be worshipped or glorified, but to recognize that spirit has woven you into stories far beyond your own, making you a vessel of truth, transformation, and divine timing. Point 2. Your energy is strong and hard to ignore. Chosen ones often carry something that goes far beyond what the eye can see. It isn't about flashy appearances, loud voices, or constantly being in the spotlight. Instead, it's about an inner presence that naturally commands attention, even when you're silent. This aura is a unique blend of spiritual alignment, emotional depth, and soul wisdom. People sense it without even realizing why. It's like walking into a room and immediately feeling a shift in the atmosphere, though no words have been spoken. Scientists have even studied how human energy fields, often called biofields, subtly influence those around us. While skeptics may dismiss it as coincidence, countless studies in psychology and quantum biology suggest that energy exchange between people is not only real, but powerful. And this is where the chosen ones stand out. Your vibration is often so high that others can feel it before they can rationalize it. Imagine this. Someone shuffles their deck of tarot cards or sits down for a meditation, fully focused on their own energy, only to feel your presence rise up uninvited. That's not a coincidence. That's spiritual resonance. The truth is, the human subconscious is far more aware than the conscious mind. Your spirit registers on a frequency that cuts through distractions, and this frequency can reveal itself in subtle ways, through dreams, sudden thoughts, or intuitive flashes. For chosen ones, this isn't just an accident. You are aligned with a deeper current of divine orchestration, and your energy is often woven into other people's spiritual journeys, even when you've never spoken a word to them. The fascinating part is that this impression you leave behind doesn't always come from grand gestures. Many times you're simply being yourself, moving quietly in the background, yet someone can't stop thinking about you. They might replay conversations in their head, feel drawn to your silence, or even sense your presence during prayer or meditation. Spiritual texts across different traditions hint at this phenomenon. In Christianity, it is said that the Spirit searches all things, even the deep things of God. In Eastern philosophy, this aligns with the concept of prana, or chi, life force energy that radiates from within. When yours is strong, balanced, and spiritually charged, people notice, even when you think you've gone unnoticed. But here's what makes it even more unique. Not everyone knows how to process what they're sensing. Some people feel comforted by your energy, almost as if they've encountered a familiar soul. Others may feel unsettled, confused, or even intimidated because your presence exposes truths they may not be ready to face. Energy, after all, is not neutral. It stirs, awakens, and challenges. And when your spirit echoes into someone's life uninvited, it can leave them restless, replaying moments, searching for answers, or even pulling out cards, hoping for clarity. There's also a scientific angle to this. Psychologists have found that we don't just remember people by what they say, but by how they make us feel. Emotional memory imprints deeper than factual memory. That's why someone may forget your exact words but can never forget the sense of peace, strength, or mystery you carried. Chosen ones unconsciously activate this deeper layer of memory. You become unforgettable not because of effort, but because your soul speaks a language beyond words. And this is where the mystery deepens. When someone finds you showing up in their readings, dreams, or unshakable thoughts, it's not always about romance or personal attachment. Sometimes, it's a sign that your paths are divinely linked, or that your presence in their awareness is meant to guide, teach, or awaken something within them. Other times, it's simply your light shining too brightly to be ignored, reminding them of what they lack or what they secretly desire to grow into. The chosen one's journey is not about fitting in or blending with the crowd. It's about embodying a spiritual frequency that naturally echoes into the lives of others. You might not even realize it, but your very existence becomes a mirror, a spark, or even a gentle disruption in the spiritual sleep of others. And while this can feel overwhelming at times, it is also a reminder of your divine assignment: to radiate, awaken, and leave traces of light wherever you go, even when you remain silent. Point 3. Spirit used you as a mirror for their life. The reading revealed you not just as a person, but as a reflection, a living mirror that Spirit places in the paths of others for reasons far greater than what the eye can see. In spiritual traditions across cultures, there's this idea that we do not always appear in someone's vision, dream, or meditation by accident. Instead, our light is projected into their awareness as a divine teaching tool. Spirit often uses chosen ones as symbols, living reminders of truths that others have forgotten or desperately crave. When you show up in someone else's message, it doesn't necessarily mean you were physically there. It may mean that your energy, your essence, or the qualities you carry are what their soul is crying out for. Think of it this way. You may represent the courage someone is lacking, the patience they've never quite mastered, or the authenticity they're afraid to step into. Your image becomes a spiritual placeholder for the qualities they need to integrate into their own life. Just as water reflects both beauty and imperfection, so too does your presence mirror back to them what they need to see. Sometimes, this reflection can feel comforting, almost like a guiding hand on their shoulder. Other times, it can stir discomfort because it shows them a gap within themselves that they have ignored for too long. That's why some people are drawn to you while others feel uneasy, because your energy does not flatter illusions. It exposes them. Across many spiritual teachings, this concept is not new. In Buddhism, there is the notion of the Kalyana Mitta, or the spiritual friend, someone who reflects the path forward simply by walking it. In Christianity, Jesus himself spoke of being the light of the world, not to be hidden under a basket but lifted high so that others could see their way. In African and native traditions, the role of a seer or chosen one was often less about personal glory and more about serving as a vessel, a reflection of what the community needed to heal or awaken to. You too serve this role, even when you don't realize it. Your life becomes a silent sermon, and others catch glimpses of your light when Spirit deems it necessary. But let's make this more human, more grounded. Have you ever noticed how people sometimes project their insecurities onto you, assuming you think you're better than them, when in truth you are simply minding your business? That is the mirror at work. They are not really seeing you. They are seeing the version of themselves they wish they could embody. Or maybe someone tells you that they had a dream of you encouraging them, protecting them, or walking beside them. This doesn't mean you are astral traveling into their subconscious, though sometimes that happens. It can also mean Spirit used your image as a symbolic guide. Because you carry the energy of strength, humility, and resilience, your reflection becomes the language Spirit speaks to them in. This is why chosen ones are often misunderstood. People think you are either too much or not enough, depending on what their soul is wrestling with. You can enter a room and instantly shift the atmosphere, not because you said anything grand, but because your very presence activates dormant truths in others. Some will thank you for it, others will resent you for it, but both are forms of recognition. Whether they love you or oppose you, They cannot ignore you, because spirit made you into a mirror too bright to overlook. So the next time you find out that you appeared in someone else's vision, don't rush to dismiss it as coincidence, and don't inflate your ego either. Instead, pause and understand that your soul is being used as a spiritual tool in their journey. You are a reminder, a reflection, a living parable. And though mirrors can never choose what they reflect, they remain essential. You may never fully know the impact your presence has had on another's awakening, but trust this. Spirit knows, and that is why your reflection shines where it is most needed. Point 4. This connection is spiritual, not just emotional. It is easy to assume that when someone remembers you, it is just a matter of attraction, fondness, or simply memory. But for the chosen one, it is never that shallow. In your case, spirit intervened, and that makes all the difference. This is why their thoughts about you are not fading, but instead deepening, growing roots that stretch far beyond the physical mind. What you carry is not ordinary energy. It is a frequency that awakens something dormant within others. When they think of you, it is not just you they remember. It is the way their spirit was stirred awake in your presence. It is the sudden reminder that there is more to life than surface-level living. And this is why forgetting you is not an option. They cannot unsee what their soul has seen. Throughout history, mystics and prophets have spoken about this mysterious pull, the way one awakened soul can ignite the spark in another. In psychology, memory is usually explained as an impression left on the brain, shaped by emotions and significance. But when spirit is involved, memory takes on a sacred dimension. It becomes what ancient traditions called anamnesis, a deep soul memory that transcends time and space. This is why when people encounter you, chosen one, they may dream of you, hear your voice in moments of silence, or suddenly feel you close even when you are far away. Spirit uses you as a vessel to awaken others, and once that door of awareness has been opened, it rarely ever closes. Think about it. Have you ever wondered why people you barely spoke to years ago suddenly reappear, sending a message, confessing they never forgot you? It is because you planted a seed in their spirit. And while everyday distractions may bury it, spirit has its own timing. That seed begins to grow when they are ready to face themselves. The truth is, you are not just remembered, you are recalled by destiny. This is why their thoughts of you deepen. You are not just a memory, but a mirror showing them their higher calling. Science gives us fascinating insights here as well. Studies on resonance and frequency reveal that human beings emit measurable energy fields, and these fields can interact in ways that leave lasting impressions. When your frequency is higher, rooted in divine awareness, authenticity, and truth, it doesn't just brush past people, it penetrates. Their subconscious recognizes it as something rare, something their soul has been seeking. This is why they cannot shake the thought of you, no matter how much time passes. It is not obsession, it is awakening. And yet, this remembering is not always comfortable. For many, your presence exposes what they have been running from, the emptiness, the distractions, the false masks. You remind them of the gap between who they are and who they are meant to become. That realization can be haunting, but it is also liberating. This is why spirit keeps tugging at their heart with your memory. It is not about romance or nostalgia, it is about transformation. Chosen one, your life carries this weight because you were never meant to be ordinary. You are the interruption in people's routines, the divine reminder that they are more than flesh and bone. And while some may resist it, others will thank God that they met you, because you awakened something no one else could. Their spirit recognizes your spirit. That recognition cannot be erased, because it is not written on the mind, it is written on the soul. So the next time you wonder why someone keeps circling back, why you keep appearing in their dreams, or why your presence lingers long after you're gone, remember this: it is Spirit's doing. Point 5. You may feel their energy too. Have you ever found yourself lying awake at night, restless for no reason, your thoughts circling around someone you hadn't even spoken to in days or maybe even years? You tell yourself it's random, just your mind wandering, but deep down, You sense something deeper is at play. What if I told you that thought may not be your own at all? What if that sudden mental image, that wave of emotion, or that unexplainable tug at your spirit was someone else's energy brushing against yours? This isn't fantasy. It's a real phenomenon that mystics, scientists, and spiritual teachers alike have spoken about for centuries. Energy travels, and when someone is thinking of you, especially with intensity or emotion, that energy doesn't stay confined in their mind. It projects outward. And when it does, it can land right in your energetic field, making you feel them even without a phone call, a message, or a physical presence. You see, human beings are not just flesh and bone. We are walking, breathing transmitters and receivers of energy. Just like Wi-Fi signals, radio waves, or Bluetooth connections, things we cannot see but know are real, our thoughts and emotions emit frequencies. These frequencies carry information, much like data streaming through the air. When someone thinks of you, especially repeatedly, they create an energetic imprint. If their emotions toward you are strong, those thoughts don't just dissolve into thin air, they ripple outward. And if you're sensitive enough, those ripples may reach you. This is why you suddenly remember a person you haven't spoken to in months, only to have them message you the next day. Coincidence? Maybe. But spiritual science says it's synchronicity, a sign that energy was already bridging the gap long before the phone call. This explains why chosen ones, people who are spiritually tuned and naturally sensitive to energy, feel these tugs more than anyone else. You're wired differently. Your soul antenna is stronger. Where others might dismiss a random thought, you pick up on the subtle vibration behind it. It's not just the face or the name that flashes in your mind, it's the weight of their emotion, the heaviness of their longing, or the warmth of their affection. Sometimes it's so strong that you find yourself asking, why am I thinking of this person right now? But the truth is, it's not always you. It's them. Their energy is knocking on your spirit's door. Science even offers clues to back this up. The concept of quantum entanglement describes how two particles, once connected, continue to affect one another even when separated by great distances. Change the state of one, and the other responds instantly, no matter the space between them. Doesn't that sound eerily similar to how two people can feel each other's presence across cities, countries, or even continents? It suggests that bonds, emotional, spiritual, or even karmic, may operate on a quantum level. When someone can't stop thinking about you, the bond you share becomes an energetic tether. That's why you feel restless when they're unsettled or suddenly peaceful when they're sending love your way. This phenomenon also explains why dreams sometimes carry people into your sleep. When thoughts are too strong to be contained in waking life, they spill over into your subconscious. That's why you dream of an old friend, an ex, or even a stranger you once locked eyes with. Their energy is weaving itself into your dreamscape. Dreams, after all, are the mind's playground for unfiltered energy. If someone is obsessively thinking of you, don't be surprised if their face shows up at 3 a.m. uninvited. But here's where it gets fascinating. Chosen ones often serve as mirrors. Your energy is so magnetic, so spiritually charged, that people feel pulled to you long after you've left their lives. They may not even understand why they're thinking of you, but they can't shake it. That pull isn't just memory, it's resonance. Their soul recognizes yours, and energy keeps knocking until you notice. Sometimes this pull is meant to teach you discernment. Do you entertain the energy? Do you ignore it? Or do you protect yourself with spiritual boundaries? Because remember, not all thoughts directed your way are kind. Some may come from envy, resentment, or unfinished wounds. Energy doesn't discriminate. It travels, whether it's born from love or hate. That's why spiritual protection, prayer, or grounding practices are essential for chosen ones. So the next time you feel that sudden tug at your spirit, don't brush it off. Pay attention. Ask yourself, is this really my thought, or am I tuning into someone else's? Energy always leaves footprints, and if you're restless at night, your soul may just be reading someone else's letter, written not in ink, but in vibration. And as a chosen one, your gift is not just receiving that energy, but knowing how to read it, filter it, and use it for wisdom. Because sometimes, the universe lets you feel another soul, not to confuse you, but to remind you of the unseen connections that weave all of us together. Point 6. This doesn't mean you must reconnect. Chosen one, here's the truth that many won't tell you. Spirit doesn't place you in someone's reading to drag you back into old cycles. It's a lesson, not a life sentence. When your name, your energy, or even your presence shows up in another person's spiritual message, it doesn't mean you're meant to reconnect or reattach. More often than not, it's simply a reminder, a sign that something you carried or represented in their life is resurfacing for them to process. Spirit pulls back the veil not to chain you to the past, but to reveal the imprint you left, reminding them of the role you played in their growth. Think of it like this. Every soul you meet is a classroom. Sometimes you step into the role of teacher, and sometimes you sit in the seat of the student. The dynamic shifts depending on the lesson that needs to be learned. Once the lesson is absorbed, however, the classroom closes, the students disperse, and everyone moves on. Yet the knowledge remains forever. This is the essence of karmic education. It is not about eternal attachments, but about temporary interactions that create permanent wisdom. It's tempting, of course, to think otherwise. Many people hear that their name has resurfaced in a reading or a spiritual message and assume it means they must circle back into an old relationship, friendship, or connection. They think it's unfinished business demanding resolution. But the truth is far deeper. Spiritual messages are mirrors, not contracts. What you are seeing is not a divine decree to return, but rather a reflection of how your presence shaped another soul. Chosen ones understand this distinction. They know that their energy may echo in someone's life, not because they are meant to return, but because that person is finally ready to face the truth you once embodied. Whether it was your resilience, your integrity, or even your absence. That absence, by the way, can be just as powerful as presence. In psychology, studies have shown that memory tends to be strongest when it is tied to emotional intensity. Whether that emotion is joy, love, pain, or even regret, the brain files those moments away more vividly than neutral experiences. Spirit operates in a similar way. When you have shifted someone's path, through your actions, your choices, or even your departure, your essence becomes a marker on their soul map. But here's the key. A marker is not a destination. It simply reminds them of where they've been, not where they must go again. Think about how teachers in school leave an impact on us. You might remember the teacher who encouraged you to believe in yourself, or the one who pushed you harder than you wanted, or even the one whose absence of belief motivated you to prove them wrong. Years later, those teachers may appear in your memories, but you don't go back to sit in their classrooms again. Their role was for a season, and when the season ended, the imprint remained as guidance for the rest of your life. This is precisely how Spirit uses your energy in someone else's journey. For the chosen ones, this is both a responsibility and a liberation. It is a responsibility because your presence carries weight. You do not enter people's lives casually, and when you do, they remember. It is also a liberation, because you are not bound to endlessly replay the past. You don't have to go back to old environments just because your name echoes in someone's reading. Instead, you are called to continue forward, evolving, climbing higher, and allowing others to wrestle with the lessons you already completed. History itself reflects this truth. Consider the way great leaders, thinkers, or spiritual figures leave behind legacies. Long after they're gone, their words or actions still appear in the minds and hearts of people, shaping their choices. Martin Luther King Jr., for example, still influences millions today. Not because he is physically present, but because his imprint on humanity continues to teach. The same is true in everyday lives, only on a smaller scale. Your personal legacy, even in the lives of those who once knew you, acts as a spiritual textbook for them to learn from. So, chosen one, don't confuse appearance with assignment. Just because Spirit allows your name or image to resurface in someone's spiritual journey doesn't mean you're supposed to return. It doesn't mean you owe them more of yourself. It means the lesson you presented has finally reached its full impact in their life. Spirit calls you not to recycle old patterns, but to elevate into new levels. You are a chapter in their book, but not every chapter is meant to be rewritten. Some chapters stand on their own, complete and closed, while still shaping the meaning of the story as a whole. In the end, the most powerful thing you can do is honor the role you've played and release the need to return. Trust that the imprint you left was enough, that the lesson served its purpose, and that moving forward is not abandonment, it's alignment. The classroom of the past is closed, but the knowledge lives on, and that's how karmic education works. Point 7. You are a signpost in their spiritual path. For them, you may now symbolize truth, healing, or even unfinished growth, and this is why your presence lingers in their thoughts like a quiet echo they cannot silence. In spiritual terms, chosen ones often become mirrors, reflecting back to others the parts of themselves they've long ignored. You didn't just enter their life by coincidence. You became a living reminder of what they've buried deep inside, whether it's pain they haven't healed from, dreams they abandoned, or truths they've been afraid to face. Spirit has a way of using people as signposts, and in this case you were placed in their path to awaken something they couldn't see on their own. Think of it like a lighthouse on a stormy night. Ships don't become obsessed with the lighthouse itself, but with what it represents: safety, direction, and the hope of reaching the shore. You became that light for them, a signal that it's time to navigate toward inner healing. Psychologists even speak of this as projection, when people assign their unacknowledged feelings onto someone else. But in a spiritual sense, it goes deeper. Your energy triggered a soul lesson. That's why, no matter how much time has passed, they can't quite shake the thought of you. You see, chosen ones carry an energy that lingers. It isn't about what you said or did, it's the vibration you leave behind. When you walk into someone's life, you disturb the silence they've been comfortable in, and suddenly their shadows are illuminated. Some resist it, some fear it, but others can't help but feel drawn to it. And so you remain in their memory, not as a fleeting moment, but as a catalyst for transformation. Spirit placed you as a marker, a reminder, and until they face themselves fully, you'll remain unforgettable. So if you have felt the weight of someone's thoughts lingering around you, know this: it is because Spirit placed you in front of them. Their psychic reading wasn't just about their own path, it was also a reminder of yours. You are remembered because your energy is unforgettable, not just to people, but to the universe itself. Stay grounded, stay calm, and allow this truth to unfold. If Spirit wanted you to know this, then it is for your awareness, not your worry. You are a chosen one, and your presence will always ripple beyond what the eye can see.